On the Trail is a high energy, genre bending acoustic band that seamlessly fuses traditional bluegrass with contemporary pop, driving instrumentals and rich vocal harmonies. Inspired by innovators like the Punch Brothers, the group has earned widespread acclaim for their tight execution and inventive original songwriting. I took a few minutes to speak with Austin Scelzo, who plays fiddle for the band and sings harmonies. Austin was named the 2023 Connecticut Arts Hero by the state of Connecticut and has been nominated for two awards by the International Bluegrass Music Association for Mentor of the Year and Industry Involvement. Hello, Austin Scalzo. Welcome to Something Different with Marky Ramone.
Thanks for having me, Mark. Happy to be here.
Now, you are in this awesome band called On the Trail, and you've been together for a few years now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I guess it's been maybe 8 or 9 years. All of us
Oh, that
are
long.
Western Connecticut State University alumni of different years, but the core trio, Tom, Polizzi, Charlie Widmer, and I, started when he was still in school, actually. Tom was in school at the time, but Charlie and I had graduated. Probably we were maybe both a year or two out of college when we started it.
And how long ago did you put out the album Where Do We Go From Here?
That's fairly recent. I think maybe the end of 2024, beginning of 2025. So it's been out for just over a year.
Oh, cool. And getting a lot of good reception. So you
Awesome.
climbed to number
Awesome.
3 on the Sirius XM Bluegrass Junction, top 100.
Yeah, man, we are super, super honored. I play in
Wow.
another group called the Rock Hearts, and they were working with a label out of Nashville called the 615 Hideaway. And the guy who runs that, how do labels even work anymore? I mean, everybody, the times have changed so much, and this guy had a different approach. He said, everything's moving to, social media and streaming and all that sort of stuff. So he built up these really fantastic platforms on social media that he just built up the audience listenership for these social media channels that would have like 400, 500,000 followers. Bluegrass related channels. One of them's called Bluegrass Music TV. Another one's called Hooked on Bluegrass. And they're basically these channels for, ideally the artists that he works with on his label to post stuff. And I was one of the youngest people on, working with him. So one of the few people who knew how to work social media. And amidst my posting of Rock Hearts, which was the group that was signed with this label, I would start posting on the trail stuff as well. Because he said, feel free to post as much as you can. The more often we post, the more we gauge people. So I had a post or two of On the Trail playing songs from Where Do We Go From Here, that album, maybe a year ago. And he said, tell me about this band. I want to know about this band. This is really hip. This is really cool. Um, and, without going too deep into it, he loved On the Trail, and he signed On the Trail as well with a similar distribution deal that we had with Rock Hearts. But On the Trail, of course, has a much more progressive, more easily, I think, easy on the ears to a non-bluegrass listener. And so Sammy Passamano of 61 Hideaway, the record label, pitched a number of our songs to Joey Black on Sirius XM Radio, and they picked up two or three of the songs from that album, mainly being the first track on that album, which is written by Charlie, called "What Do I Need with Love," and that's been playing on the radio every day for over 6 months. It's paid for our entire next album. We made like maybe 11 or 12 grand off of that song.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Excellent.
It's really fascinating how the music industry works now. I mean, if you could, someone could stream our album 40 times every day for the rest of their life,
Mhm.
and we probably make like $3. And if a song gets played on Sirius XM Bluegrass Junction, in one play you can make $33.
Oh, nice. Wow.
It's one of the only things under U.S. copyright that's actually protecting artists' rights so far is the satellite, in particular satellite radio. There's all these different laws for AM, FM, terrestrial radio versus streaming versus this and that.
Yeah.
And by far, satellite radio is really protecting the song rights of artists today. It's really
I'm,
fascinating.
I'm glad I don't have a subscription to Spotify. I've got XM though.
Nice, awesome.
um, so is this going to be your first time at Black Bear Americana Music Festival?
Yeah, that's right. On the Trail is a group that's sort of on the fringe of bluegrass. They kind of push it more into the folk world and the progressive kind of world. And so, although my background and playing with the rock hearts, all my connections were more with the traditional bluegrass music circuit, we've sort of played a lot of those festivals in the Northeast, and now are branching more into the Americana world with Black Bear, and we're maybe going to Chicago for the Folk Alliance. So, now we'll be sort of the token bluegrass group in some of these non-bluegrass places, and we're looking forward to seeing what that vibe's like at Black Bear.
So you play fiddle though, right?
Yes, sir.
And who does anybody play banjo or oh no, mandolin is one of your instruments, right?
Yeah, so in this particular group, everyone sings. I play fiddle, we've got guitar, mandolin, and bass. And you're right to notice that most bluegrass groups have a banjo. In the Northeast, banjo is a little bit less common of an instrument. So a lot of the powerhouse kind of bluegrass adjacent groups actually go without banjo. Like Della Mae is another
Yeah.
big group from Northeast that didn't have a banjo for a long time. It's not. I am a personal huge fan of the banjo. I'm learning it myself, really enjoying that. But there's not a ton of young players. We actually on the trail for a couple years had a banjo player, and there is some banjo on three or four of our songs, but not. We don't regularly play with one.
I was really surprised when we found out that Steve Martin was such like a professional banjo player, outside of being a comedian and an actor, he could have had a career just in playing the instrument.
Could have made millions playing banjo.
Instead, he made millions doing other things and playing banjo. So
Yeah.
I think he won. He's doing everything.
Yeah, well, Delamay actually, I think, just recorded a song with him as well. So he's like still very relevant and a part of the bluegrass community. It's very cool.
He is, yeah. And I recently, on the New Music Alliance Radio Hour, we just played something from Salamander Crossing, and I noticed that they really had a bluegrass feel to them, but they didn't have banjo in there.
Hmm.
Well, this is kind of weird that I'm talking to you now, and you've got some kind of bluegrass vibe to you, and no banjo. So I guess I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, no, you're totally right, man. It's banjo is like a lot of people will say from the traditional bluegrass music world will say that On the Trail is not a bluegrass group because it doesn't have a banjo. So, the definition is very people argue it all the time, and
Who's to say? Well,
I know, to me, we play so many bluegrass songs. We love the Stanley Brothers and Bill Monroe and Flat and Scruggs and so much of the early bluegrass, and we play those songs in our sets. And I get, as a person who is in a traditional five-piece bluegrass band with some like really blaring banjo, I understand there's some fundamental differences about the overall vibe of the music, but we're kind of happy to wear bluegrass as a descriptor for at least to start at
yeah.
what we're doing.
I mean, in a way, it's I hate labels because it feels like you're constricting and putting somebody in a box and pigeonholing them. It's just a label, and when you get right down to it, you just want to hear some good music and have fun, and that's what On the Trail is doing for sure.
Yeah, man, and we really enjoy, being a part of, well, both being a part of bluegrass circles where we are the kind of people that are helping sort of older, more traditional generations to maybe be more open to newer sounds, and also it's pretty neat to exist in non-bluegrass worlds where a traditional bluegrass music band wouldn't be able to make it into there. We've done a couple co-bills with more traditional bluegrass bands where we sort of warm the audience up with like if you've never heard bluegrass before, here's some similar kind of grooves and stuff, maybe closer to what you're used to hearing on the radio today from On the Trail, and then we get the bluegrass group out there, and they've sort of like had their little taste, and then they get to ease in, you know.
Yep.
So that's fun as well.
So, as an artist, performing in you said Rock Hearts in on the trail.
That's right, yeah.
Um, what do you think is your most memorable experience as a professional musician?
You talking about performing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think early on in the days where I was thinking about quitting my job, I remember how terrified I was of being on big stages in front of big audiences. And I remember, I was a middle school teacher in Darien, Connecticut. I had 150 orchestra kids, and I used to tell them like how important it is to follow your dreams and to take risks, especially when you're young. And I told them one day, let's open up here. I said, one day I want to be on the big bluegrass festival stages. I want to be playing fiddle into big loud speakers and making people dance and all that sort of thing. And it was just a dream at the time. But I've always there's a lot of dreamer energy in On the Trail, and that's exactly what I did in 2021. I quit the job, and once I joined the Rock Hearts, they were kind of an established group, and Rock Hearts On the Trail was sort of right there as well. Between those two groups, I was able to kind of build a career, and I think those early experiences of getting on a stage for the first time in sort of a big festival setting, really jump out to me. But also getting to travel for the first time. On the Trail and Rock Hearts both got to travel to Canada a bunch of times these past few years, and we've made a point to like build some time into the schedule to like really appreciate we were over near Banff, the Canadian Rockies, some of the most beautiful places, in the north in general, and that has been incredible. I know that my other bandmates would answer this question with their most recent endeavor, which was to go to Germany. On the Trail was just in Germany.
Oh wow.
Because they were selected. They were selected by the U.S. State Department to be cultural envoys of American music to different parts of the world. So we got sort of invited to go to Egypt. We went. They went to Germany, and because I was playing with Rock Hearts and I wear a lot of hats. I actually wasn't able to join them on the trip. They had to find a sub or whatever. But we'll be doing that a lot more often. Getting going on these trips and playing at the U.S. embassies in different places in the world, and doing workshops at colleges for music students and talking to the locals about bluegrass and jamming and all that sort of stuff.
That sounds exciting. Wow. And you before we started, you were telling me about Della Valle.
Oh, the Della Valle, yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had recently and interviewed them, and you had met them already, right?
Della Valle Trio I had met for the first time at the beginning of this summer at an event called the Great Big Fiddle Hang, which was in, believe it or not, I applied for some grant about arts administration, and at the beginning I applied for okay, I'm going to the Folk Alliance, there's going to be conferences, there's going to be speakers, this makes sense. But at the very end, they're like, is there anything else that you want to apply for support for? And I was like, the Great Big Fiddle Hang, maybe. But it was the first time that some superstars in the fiddle music world, Daryl Enger and Bruce Molsky, were hosting this basically retreat in Massamoka, northwestern Massachusetts. Yep. And the Della Valle Trio were all there, and we were hanging out very late, jamming every night. They didn't stay up too late because they had summer school in the morning at 7 a.m. or something. But I remember their mother was there, and their mother somehow finagled the last night of camp that they didn't have to go to their morning school. So we stayed up till 3 or 4 playing music, and
wow.
Yeah, it's we have a shared love of irresponsibly playing late, so we bonded quickly about that.
That's when the magic happens,
Yeah. Man.
Well, Austin, looking forward to seeing you at Black Bear Americana Music Festival with On the Trail. Do you know which day you'll be performing yet?
Yeah, I believe On the Trail is performing on Sunday, somewhere around 6 p.m., I believe. Charlie Widmer, who's the guitar player in that group, he's doing a solo set with his band on Thursday, and then another group that I perform in is going to be playing on Friday in the afternoon at 1. That group's called Bugs on a Log. So we'll be hanging out, and actually the folks that I live with, I live on this really kind of cool place. It's a big property with 2 houses, and our landlords are in the other house, and they are these amazing just powerhouse couple that they, at Black Bear and a number of other festivals, they host basically their own side stage. It's called the Jubilee Jam Tent. And they have this big, huge tent that they set up, and they make it really comfortable for people to hang out and jam. But they also kind of schedule at Black Bear, they have their own full like lineup of artists that do quick 30 and 40-minute sets, and there's workshops, and like I'm teaching a harmony singing workshop here at the Jubilee tent. I think that's Saturday morning at 11 or something. And yeah, it's got its own thing going on. On the Trail may be playing there as well. So is Bugs on the Log, and so there's a lot of fun to be had at this Jubilee Jam tent too.
Is Bugs on a Log more geared for children or?
Great thought with the name, and we do a number of children's activities. Actually, there's a subset of that group that does something called Harmonious Tales, where you read children's stories, namely usually Frog and Toad. You're familiar with Frog and Toad?
Yep.
They read Frog and Toad, like at libraries and schools and stuff. They read Frog and Toad to the music of fiddle and banjo. So they do a lot of children's activities, but the group itself is not inherently a kids band. It's a group of music-loving folks who play a mix of bluegrass and old-timey Appalachian kind of fiddle music.
Cool, man. That sounds like a lot of fun. So looking forward to seeing you in your many forums at Black Bear Americana Music Festival. Austin, would you like to play a quick game before we go?
All right, sounds good.
It's called Lyrical Ponderings. I'm going to give you a song title. That song title is in the form of a question. You can either tell me who sang the song or answer the question.
Okay.
And you know what? I just realized we could put, I could add your songs to the list.
That's true. There's a lot of questions on our album. What do I need with love? Where do we go from here?
I'm going to put that on the list.
Where will I be?
So pick a number between 1 and 202.
Okay. 176.
Perfect. What about me? What about me?
Wow, what an interesting, very self-observant question. What about me? Well, I certainly don't know who wrote that song. I'll tell you that right off the bat. So I guess I have to answer, what about me? Well, I suppose I'm wondering, what folks will think about me and all the groups that we're going to be playing and bringing to Black Bear Americana Festival. I know that bluegrass and old time and Appalachian music and all that sort of stuff is definitely outside of the realm of what I believe I've heard and watched online, where Black Bear, I think, tends to lean towards more singer-songwriter, folksy vibes. So I'm thinking, what about me? What are you guys going to think of this new genre and all these different instruments? We're going to be bringing, mandolin and cello and fiddle and banjo. I actually played banjo with Bugs on a Log a little bit. So curious what folks will think of that.
That's a great answer. I think that's perfect.
Great.
That was, let me see, who was that? That was Moving Pictures in 1982.
All right. Beats me.
Yeah, now we know. All right, Austin, thank you so much for taking some time with me, and looking forward to seeing you at Black Bear.
All right. Thanks, Mark. Take care.